Hey y'all, Brandon Rinas here. Hope you're doing absolutely amazing. So today I'm going to go and talk about the top 1%, the evil, wealthy people, the horrible, selfish, greedy human beings like Donald Trump and other humans like that. Now, I keep hearing about how they're selfish, they're greedy, they're evil, and I hear this over and over and over and over. And to me, I'm one of those people that I want facts. Like, what makes a person selfish? I mean, aren't you selfish? Don't you want a nicer shirt, a nicer set of clothes, a nicer set of socks? Does that make you selfish? Does that make you greedy? Do you want to get paid more an hour, or do you want to get paid less an hour? If you want to get paid more, does that make you greedy? If you want to have a better product, a nicer car, does that make you greedy? Or do we just use those words for rich people? Because, oh, they're rich. How dare they? Now, I listened to somebody the other day, and they were talking about how, in fact, it was TYT, the Young Turds, I mean the Young Turks, in case you guys aren't wondering. And they were talking about how Donald Trump was evil, he was greedy, and how he was selfish, and how he had made his money hurting the middle class, hurting the poor in order to become wealthy. Okay, I understand this is really good talking points. And TYT, you guys, and just the left in general, and this is not coming from some Republican, I am not a Republican, but I try to think about things. I try to think about things critically. So let's think about this here for a second. He's evil, he's rich, and he's greedy, and he makes all this money. Well, first of all, their previous post talked about how he sits on his money. And that's how he's this selfish, greedy hoarder. Okay, so how do you get all that money if you're a hoarder? I don't know about you guys, but when I put my money under the mattress, it doesn't just turn into $1 billion. Second, let's say he's selfish and greedy with his money and he hurts the poor and hurts the middle class. How? Does he not pay them good enough wages? Well, let's think about that for a second. Donald Trump creates hotels. In order to create these hotels, they have to be good enough quality and cheap enough that people will go to them over other hotels and they will use his services. So this means he's helping the poor and the middle class and the average person. He builds bridges. People have to go over those bridges. The reason Donald Trump gets these contracts for building the bridges is because he does a better job than most people. He does a more quality job than most people, and he gets it done under budget and early over and over and over, which helps the poor and the middle class as they go from point A to point B, as they go to work, as they bring their children to school, as they bring their children to college or classes or whatever else it would be. Now but we just need to call him an evil person because what? He's wealthy? Because he's in the top 1%? Now there are reasons to hate on the top 1%, and some of them are legitimate. For example, I despise welfare in general, but corporate welfare is horrible. It's the government forcefully taking money from the poor and the middle class and handing it to wealthy companies, wealthy corporations. That's disgusting. But before we go and attack the businesses who are on the dole, again, we need to think to ourselves, why? How? Can we blame them? Let's put yourself in a business. Let's call me Donald Trump, okay? I'm going to be big, bad, evil Donald Trump. I'm Donald Trump, and I want to go and get business. I want to go and do a deal with this city, or I'm going to build some skyscraper for these guys. I want to do it, and I have competition that also wants to build a skyscraper on that property. Well, the problem is that unless I'm in bed with government, my competition has an advantage. They get to wine and dine Hillary Clinton or whoever's the governor of the city. They get to wine and dine Congress in order to tell them, hey, the reason you should give me the contract is because I gave you a few $100,000. Now I'm at a disadvantage. I decided I was going to be the upstanding guy that just did a good job, and now I lose. I go bankrupt, or I run out of money because I can't do these contracts because the people who have the in, the people who are able to buy the politicians, the congressmen, the governors, they're the ones that have the advantage. So you can hate on all the rich Donald Trump people that actually are part of the government system, but you're hating on the wrong people. You should be mad at the system. Donald Trump has gotten to where he's at because he has recognized, hey, this is the rules and I am going to have to play inside the rules. The rules are you can own politicians. If you don't own a politician, you are at a competitive disadvantage. So guess what Donald Trump does? He says, I have to own politicians. This sucks. I'm not saying I want him to, but we need to be complaining about the government that has the power to hand out special privileges to this person and not that person. That's discrimination. That's way too much power. That's absurd. But as long as we keep blaming these evil, wealthy people that are actually helping our lives by creating products that we use. Look at Apple. loaded with money. How do they make their money? They make their money by creating products so good that the poor and the middle class buy their phones willingly so they can have a better life. They can play their games on their phone. They can make money while they're sitting in their car on their phone because their phone is so sweet, the technology is so great. That is how they make so much money. Because they have a product so good that they help tons and tons of people with it. Think of anything you use, TVs, Vizio, how do they make so much money? Same exact thing, by creating a product so good that the poor and the middle class buy that product. Now Vizio, let's say all of a sudden the government starts getting involved in regulating the TV industry or the technology industry. Well, you're going to have the same exact problem. Whoever gets in bed with the politicians, whoever gets in bed with Congress, whoever gets in bed with the government, they are going to be the ones that compete. They are going to be the ones who win. Everyone else goes to the wayside. They lose. Because the government is handing out special privileges to particular companies and not special privileges to others. The problem isn't the rich people taking advantage of the system. They have to or they go bankrupt. They have to or they go under. The problem is the system. You don't complain about the jokers in the deck if that's what the rules allow. You get rid of those rules. You change the rules. Our government wasn't founded to have this kind of power. Our government wasn't allowed to do this. You can look up Grover Cleveland. He vetoed practically every bill that came across his desk. He was a Democrat. And Grover Cleveland said, where in the Constitution does it allow me to have the power to hand money to these farmers? Take taxpayer money and hand it to the farmers. Where in the world does it give me power to do this? And he would write these questions as he would veto the bill and send it back to Congress. That's a Democrat. But as long as we keep following people like the young turds, oh yeah, we need to go and attack the top 1%, the evil 1%, woohoo! They suck, they're horrible. No, the reason they are in the top 1% is because they are helping the poor, they are helping the middle class, and they are helping Americans. Do I want more competition for them? Yes. But you can't get more competition for them if you're going to promote all these rules and regulations. The same people who say, oh, these guys are lining their pockets too much, they then say, oh, we need more rules, we need more regulations. I'm sorry, but as a business owner myself, how can I compete with a billionaire if there's so many rules and regulations? I need 5 lawyers to go through it all in order for me to be able to have the same advantage that the billionaire has. Well, I can't afford that as a small business owner, so guess who those rules and regulations help? Oh, shoot, that top 1%. So the same people who are complaining about how rich the top 1% are, the same people who are complaining about how they line their pockets, they are then saying, more rules, more regulations, we need to help that top 1%. And of course, they don't say that, no, they say, no, we need more rules and regulations to help the poor and the middle class. But we don't need to listen to what they say. We need to look at the actions. As the old saying goes, actions speak louder than words. We are not going to promote rules and regulations and pretend that they help the poor or they help the middle class. We know for a fact that they don't. We can look at it. We can look at the statistics. We can look at, we have more rules and regulations than at any other time. Oh, look, our new business startups are at all-time lows. Business failures are at all-time highs. I wonder why this is. You know what? We should probably do more rules and more regulations. Oh, it's weird that the wealth gap keeps growing and growing and growing the more we have rules and regulations. You know what? Maybe next time we should just do a few more rules and regulations. That will help. You think it's helping? You can look at the wealth gap yourself. If you like that, keep supporting more of the same. But don't tell me you want the wealthy to not line their pockets and then support rules and regulations, because you're promoting it. And stop attacking these wealthy people who are doing everything in their power to be wealthy, and in order to be wealthy, you have to help others. I don't know of any way you can be wealthy without helping other people. If you're in the stock market, you're training other people to be able to do the same thing you can so that way they can make money. When they're making money, you make more money. The more your training works, the more credibility you have, the more money you can make. This is the way it works in all industries. So let's stop attacking the top 1% and start attacking the real problem, the real problem. I can't even think of the culprit, which is the government. The government that believes that they have power to take from me and give to someone else. The government that has the power to give special rules, special regulations to that person and screw me over. The one that says, Brandon, you have to follow these rules, but this guy doesn't have to follow those rules. That is discrimination. That is not a country that is based on freedom and equality. No, that is a different standard for the wealthy than it is for the middle class and for the poor. And if you're saying you want more rules and more regulations, all you are doing is helping the wealthy. So we can't keep supporting these asinine arguments. I understand the young turds promote this and say this every single day. Yes, I listen to them too. Yes, and I know they say, oh, top 1%, they're so evil. Top 1%, they're so bad. Top 1%, they're awful. Top 1%, they're robbing the poor. Top 1%, they're not paying high enough wages. But until we recognize the real problem, you're going to have this over and over and over. And you want higher wages? You want higher wages? Okay, let me help this again. This is for the young turds. Here you go. You want higher wages? Then you want more competition. So here's the deal. If I'm trying to hire someone, and there's lots of people fighting for the same group of employees, because there's only so many people that we can hire, if we're all having to fight for these people, their wages go up, their value goes up. But don't worry, because they're the young turds and they like to regulate, they like more regulations on the marketplace, they like to control everybody, they want to protect everyone, they want higher wages. That's why we do all these regulations. Guess what they do? They drive wages down. People like me, if I'm in business and I'm a big business owner, I want more regulations. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a little bit more of a hassle for me. I have to hire one more lawyer, but guess what? I have no competition. I can pay people bottom dollar. Why? Because I don't have to worry about someone taking those employees from me. What are you talking about? Nobody else can get in business. I'm Walmart. I've got a monopoly. I'm going to pay my people $8 an hour. Who's going to stop me? The government's regulated my competition right out of the marketplace. I have a government-enforced monopoly. How great is that? So TYT, progressives, liberals who actually pretend that you have a problem with the top 1%, you are supporting the top 1%. You are endorsing the top 1%. You are helping the top 1%. And you are promoting a bigger wealth gap with your solutions. Let's stop pursuing insanity and actually think about problems, use critical thinking, another thing that young turds seem to fail at, and actually think through a problem and fix it. That is all I have, guys. If you guys want more critical thinking, maybe some just basic thinking, yeah, that'd be a great idea. Hit subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you hit subscribe, you gotta hit the notification button. Thanks to YouTube's new algorithm, you will not get all the new videos unless you have subscribed and you have the notification button. If you love this video, give me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. If you hate it, give me a thumbs down, and more importantly, tell me why. Let's create dialogue, let's have discussion, let's create debate, let's really get together and actually focus on fixing problems. Have a great day, you guys. Peace out.